So when I'm stuck in perfectionism, I have to remind myself, okay, Tracy, perfectionism is focusing on you and you trying to make everything perfect. You don't need to be focusing on you. You need to be focusing on the people that you can help and how you can bless them with your content. And so get out of your head, get out of your own way, stop being selfish, and go out and serve other people. And when we focus on serving other people and we imagine all the people we're going to help, to me, that helps me overcome a lack of confidence. It helps me overcome the perfectionism and the imposter syndrome and the things that get in our way.
Welcome to the Baggage Begun Healing Hearts and Minds podcast. I'm your host, Tami Mahmali, a spiritual guide and hypnotherapist. I'm here to guide you on this healing journey toward holistic and spiritual well-being with ease. Each week, we will dive deep into the realms of self-discovery, offering you valuable tips, strategies, and actionable steps to help you restore harmony in your mind, body, and soul. Welcome back to another episode of Baggage Begun. I'm your host, Tami Mahmali, and today we are diving into a topic that I know resonates with so many of us, especially those who feel a bit introverted or overwhelmed by the idea of putting ourselves on being visible. We all know that being on social media is particularly a must if you want to advertise and grow your business today, but for many, including myself, it can feel downright scary. The fear of coming across as too pushy or not knowing how to present yourself can be paralyzing, especially if you don't have much experience. It's easy to get stuck in procrastination and let those fears hold you back. But today's guest is here to guide us through those challenges and help us move forward with confidence. So joining me is Tracy Beavers, a CEO and founder of Tracy Beavers Coaching with over 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and business growth. Tracy helped countless entrepreneurs overcome their fears and achieve incredible success. She is a public speaker, a published author, and the creator of two successful online programs. Tracy is going to share her experience on how we can overcome these challenges and start growing our business visibility in a way that feels authentic and aligned with who we are, with basically our heart. So let's welcome Tracy Beavers. Tracy, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you, Tammy. I'm excited to be here also.
Thank you so much. Could you share a bit about yourself and what inspired you to dive into this business? What was the driving force behind your journey?
Absolutely. So I'm from Arkansas. I'm a wife and I'm a mom of two young adults. I'm also a dog mom. The dog is the only child left at home. So if you follow me on social media, you'll see lots of pictures of the dog. But I started my journey as an online entrepreneur, as a business and sales coach, about 7 years ago. And it's because I spent my entire life up until that point in corporate America. I was raised in the generation where you go to high school, you graduate, you go to college, you graduate, you get a job, you're happy for the job, you stay in the job, and even if you don't like it, you keep going until you get to retirement. And about 7 years ago, I just finally got fed up with the corporate structure. I knew I didn't have any real control over my time, but I always felt like being in sales and in business development and marketing with a commission structure that I would have control over my income. But the final straw was when one of the last CEOs that I worked for actually said that he was just going to change the compensation plan to really benefit the company. And I thought, okay, I really don't have any control over my money either. And so I decided to do some soul searching and figure out what is it that I would want to do if corporate wasn't the right fit. And through some really great friends of mine, they helped me realize that I've always been a coach in some form or capacity. People are always coming to me for advice. And in large part over the years, I had lots and lots of people asking me, how are you so successful in sales? How are you so successful in marketing? How do you stand in front of a room full of 700 people and deliver a training without passing out? And so I realized that I had some gifts and talents that I could really use to help other people grow their businesses. And so I just dove in and I haven't looked back.
I see how it was challenging for me to come out of this fear for so many years. So let's start by addressing something that I know many of our listeners struggle with, putting ourselves out there on social media. For
Mhm.
those who feel introverted or inexperienced, it can be really daunting. I know this firsthand. I used to stutter when I was speaking in front of camera,
Mhm.
avoiding visibility for the longest time because of anxiety. I
Mhm.
worried that no one would want my product, that no one would even look at me, or that people might judge me. What advice
Mhm.
do you have for someone who feels stuck or in procrastination and is afraid to take the first step?
That fear is really real. And in large part, and you know this because of what you teach, the fear is coming from stories that we are telling ourselves, stories that are not based on real fact and truth. Is it true that people are going to judge you? Is it true that nobody's going to want to buy your offer? Is it true that, people might not be attracted to your content? None of those things are true. We don't know because we haven't tried. And so, if that story is not based on fact, then what we have to do is override our brain and rethink that and reshape that thought. So, I teach my clients a 1 minute exercise, and it's called recognize, reframe, and repeat. And it's the way that you rewire your brain for success. So when you have that thought that says, I'm afraid that I might not be powerful on video, well, I want you to ask yourself, is that true? It's probably not true. It's probably that you just need to practice and gain some confidence with it. And that practicing it will bring you the confidence that you need. So, is it based on truth? No, it's not. We recognized the thought, I'm not that powerful on video. We recognize that it's not the truth. Then I want you to reframe it. I am a powerful and transformational coach. I have helped clients. I have gotten success for myself and other people. And then I want you to repeat that statement over and over and over again for about a minute. And what you're going to find is you're going to override your brain's initial response of fear with something that is based in truth and something that gives you confidence. Because our brains are wired to protect us, and my brain doesn't know the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and going live on camera. Those two things feel the same. And so, a million years ago, when I had to defend myself coming out of a cave trying to hunt down my dinner, that feeling in the brain is no different than when I go to push the live button and present a training. So just recognizing what you're saying to yourself, reframing it into something that is true and positive, and then repeating it is really going to help you gain the confidence that you need. And then when we're talking about doing things like recording an online course or going live on video or recording a video that you're going to post on social media, the key there is definitely practice. I have a lot of students. I teach live video. I have a lot of students that it takes them several months to get their courage up to push the live button. One tip that I'll give you guys is you can create your own Facebook group where you are the only person in it. Don't tell anybody about it. Nobody will be able to find it. And you can go in there, push the buttons to your heart's content, go live all you want in that group, and practice. You can see what your lighting looks like. You can see if you need a microphone or not. Most of the time you don't. I have a fancy microphone now, but that's only because I started a podcast. For the last 7 years, I haven't had a fancy microphone. I just use the microphone on my laptop because it's good enough, and the lighting in my kitchen. And you can figure out your camera angle and all of those things and just practice. The more you do this, the more you put yourself out there, the easier it's going to be, and the more your brain's going to get used to it.
It took me 4 years to be doing a live video with a friend on Instagram,
Yeah.
so I understand how scary it is. We often hear that social media is essential for business growth, but it can also feel overwhelming to manage it.
Yes.
How can someone who is new to social media marketing start building their online presence in a way that feels manageable, authentic, and not too overwhelming?
That's a great question. I have an exercise that I developed years ago because when I started building this online business, I had to do it alongside my corporate career and our two very busy kids. I could not just quit my corporate job and go and not make any money for a while. That wasn't going to happen. So I had to figure out a way to create the social media content that I needed every week to get myself really visible, but without exhausting myself completely and burning out. And so my method is for people to create one regular piece of weekly content. For me, for the last several years, it's been my live videos that I do every Thursday at 11:30. I am live. I use StreamYard to be live in my Facebook group, on my YouTube channel, and over on LinkedIn. And so I create that one piece of content with the intro, the outro, the hook. What am I going to say in the training? And so I create that. And from that, everything else I need for content for the week comes off of that. So, for example, if I'm talking about the 3 ways that you can make your Facebook personal profile into an email list growth funnel, well, let's say I teach you 4 ways you can do that, 4 tips in that training. Well, I can. Now, when I started this process years ago, ChatGPT wasn't around. But what you could do is write out that training, throw that into ChatGPT and say, please help me write 2 to 3 social media posts that pertain to this exact training that I'm going to deliver to my audience. Let's say for you, Tammy, you do a podcast. I don't know if you do your podcast once a week, but that's your regular piece of content. So you write out what you want to do in your podcast, or maybe get a transcript of the audio, throw that into ChatGPT, and let it help you create 2 to 3 social media posts. So you've got your one piece. I've got my live script of what I'm going to teach in my training. Now I have 2 to 3 social media posts that are written based on that training. You could ask ChatGPT, hey, is there a famous person that has a quote that's similar to what I'm saying here? Like, let's say you're talking about courage. You could quote Mel Robbins and her 5-second rule. There's another social media post. You put her quote on a graphic and you talk in the copy about her quote and you bring it back to what you presented in your live, and there's your social media. So you got the live script. Now you've got 4 social media posts. If you want to write a blog for your website, have ChatGPT help you write that blog based on your live script. Your email to your audience, it could very simply be what I do every Tuesday. I email my audience and I say, hey, here's what I'm talking about live on Thursday at 11:30. I'm going to teach you this, and I hope you'll join me, and here's the link to join me. And so the email that you send to your audience can be about that one piece of content that you wrote. So all you're having to do is really create that one thing, and everything else that you need for the week is born. And you're not sitting there staring at a blank computer screen wondering, what am I going to post on social media?
I think when we already talked before, you gave me this idea, and it's so much easier now. My brain got used to doing it so fast, so
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't feel so much fear. Like a video that used to take me an hour now takes 5 to 10 minutes, and
Right.
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
And I think mindset is a huge part of overcoming fear of procrastination and not doing that, even the fear of visibility.
Mm-hmm.
What mindset shift do you recommend for those who struggle with self-doubt when it comes to putting themselves out there and being visible?
Mm-hmm. A lot of times it comes from the fact that we want everything to be perfect. And so if that fear is based in a lack of confidence, that's where I'm going to suggest that they practice, 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 and just do it. Hold your nose and do it. Face the fear. Get out there, and just the more you do it, the easier it will get. But if that fear is based in, oh my gosh, I'm not perfect, it's not going to be perfect, is anybody going to like my content? Is anybody going to sign up for my free lead magnet? Perfectionism can be a form of procrastination. And perfectionism, again, lies in a story that we're telling ourselves that we're not good enough. And if we're not careful, it'll sneak up on us and it'll keep us stuck from sharing our gifts and talents. And so when it comes to putting pressure on myself to feel like I've got to make something the best it's ever been, I just have to remind myself that not everything I do is going to be, you know, over the top and the best thing since sliced bread, but it is going to be good enough for my audience and it is going to attract them to me. And perfectionism, I remind myself, is kind of a very selfish way of thinking because I'm thinking about myself and I'm not thinking about the people that I can help. So when I'm stuck in perfectionism, I have to remind myself, okay, Tracy, perfectionism is focusing on you and you trying to make everything perfect. You don't need to be focusing on you. You need to be focusing on the people that you can help and how you can bless them with your content. And so get out of your head, get out of your own way, stop being selfish, and go out and serve other people. And when we focus on serving other people and we imagine all the people we're going to help, to me, that helps me overcome a lack of confidence. It helps me overcome the perfectionism and the imposter syndrome and the things that get in our way.
I felt that when I pivoted from the art business to being in service and doing holistic healing, when I felt that I'm serving others, was so much easier to come out of my shell and be out there. So I know that you mentioned that you have a program that's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur. Is it
Mhm.
true?
It's not currently available. It is one that I developed years ago, and it's not one that I market a lot, but yes, I do. And also, my free Facebook group is called Be a Confident Entrepreneur. And we have lots of free trainings in that Facebook group that people can use to help them learn how to be visible and grow their email list in a way that feels easy and authentic.
Because you gave so many tips about the fear of being visible, let's talk about the fear of sales. This is something that can really hold people back, especially when they are just starting out and need to finally put a price on their most valuable project, art, or merchandises.
Mhm.
How do you help your clients overcome this fear, and what strategies can our listeners use to start feeling more confident in their sales approach?
That's a great question. When people think of sales, they think of the bad experiences they've had with salespeople. Maybe going to the car dealership or going to the furniture store or a salesperson knocking on your door wanting to sell you an alarm system for your home. Those sales situations where somebody was overly assertive and overly aggressive and it didn't feel good. And so that's what we think of when you say the word sales. Most people go, ugh. And that like you say sales and they go, ick. I don't want to, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be aggressive. And we don't have to be that way. That's the good news. The good news is that when it comes to sales, all you are truly doing to be successful in sales, and I know this for 20 years of award winning sales career when I was in corporate, I was a very successful salesperson because all I did was connect with another person, human to human, get to know them, make a relationship, a connection of some kind that was based on genuinely wanting to know about that other person. And then I would see where I could be of service. Sometimes what I was selling was what they needed. Other times, what I was selling was not what they needed, but I could still help them in another way. And they would remember me for that. And they would refer me to their friends who needed what I was selling. And so when it comes to sales, I want people to take that word out of their brain. Forget about the sale, forget about the transaction. Focus on connecting as a human being to another human being, actually seeing them, hearing them. What do they need? Can you be their best solution? You might be. What you're selling may be the best thing for them. And if it is, when you've built that relationship with them and you go to share that with them, they're going to be grateful. And you don't want to be overly assertive and overly aggressive. You really want to build that connection first. But then also, just because someone might not be a good client for me in that moment, that doesn't mean that that's where the relationship and the potential business growth ends, because I could be talking to somebody that I could collaborate with. Just like you and I, Tammy, we're collaborating right now. And when you send me this podcast interview, I'm going to share it with my audience. They're going to get to know you. You have a potential to grow your audience. You're going to share me with your audience. They're going to get a chance to know me, potentially maybe be my client or ask me to collaborate in another way. And we never know where those interactions and those connections are going to lead. So just because you might not want to buy what I'm selling today doesn't mean that this transaction, that this connection and this collaboration isn't super valuable for business growth, because you could be a client, you could be a collaboration partner, you could love what I do so much that you refer me to your friends and family. And so that's why we just have to focus on building a relationship with another person and then seeing where that relationship goes. The sale will take care of itself. It always does.
I totally agree with what you said about the connection because money is a relationship. And when we grow up, no one talked about money like a relationship. And making sales, thinking about how being in service helps 100%. It's helping me every day when I'm thinking how I can help someone instead of thinking about the money
Mm-hmm.
and the sales.
Just take the money out of your mind, take the transaction. Don't even think about, are they going to want to be my client? Are they going to want to buy what I'm selling? None of that. Just build that relationship and see where it goes, because it will lead to business growth in some way.
We can start small and like you mentioned before, we don't need to be perfect. I try to be perfect for so many years and I see how it's hindered my progress. And now that I do things imperfectly, just putting that out there, I see a different flow of energy that helping me just make leaps that before was so scary. Now I don't think about that because
Yeah.
service is number one and the rest comes after. So
Yeah.
just take your the best thing that you want to offer and just put it out there and just believe that it's possible. We talked about consistency is often the key to success,
Yes.
but it's also something that many people struggle with, especially on promoting themselves, being
Mhm.
visible on social media, especially. What tips do you have for maintaining consistency
Mhm.
in your online marketing efforts without burning out?
So it goes back to the exercise that I just shared with you guys about creating that one piece of regular weekly content and then letting everything else come off of that. That is how I maintained my consistency without burning out, because I was building alongside a corporate job and it was exhausting. And so if I had to sit and think about creating a live script and then creating 3 or 4 fresh social media posts on a different topic, and then a blog on a different topic, and an email to my, that's exhausting. And so if you go back to just creating that one piece and let everything else be born off of that, that is going to keep you in the flow where it doesn't feel enormous. And that helps you maintain your consistency. Another thing that I still do to this day is I will brain dump topic ideas. And so this is another exercise that I developed building alongside corporate. So you just want to set a timer for about 10 minutes and or 5 minutes actually, and just visualize your ideal client. Who are they? What do they need? What are they looking for? What are they struggling with? What are the emotions that they have? And then I want you to brain dump. If you can get to 12 topics, that would be awesome. Brain dump a list of topics based on everything that you just felt that your client is going through. I bet you can get to at least 12. And then what I do is, the reason why we like to do 12 is because one topic per week, that would give you 12 weeks of content topics all mapped out, where you don't even have to think about it. It's you've just brain dumped it in a list that gives you 90 days worth of stuff to work on. So then you look at your topic for the week, you write your regular weekly content piece about that topic. Everything else is born off of it. And then the next week you look, okay, what's my topic? You don't have to reinvent the wheel on anything. It's all right there for you, and you're 90 days ahead. Now, here's the thing. If you look at that content topic for next week and you go, I do not want to talk about that again. I am so sick of that topic. I could just, it makes me nauseous just to think about it. I don't want to do that. Okay, no, this is where we have to put on our CEO pants and have a talking to ourselves and say, okay, this is the topic for the week. Hold my nose. I'm creating the content and I'm getting in and I'm getting out and I'm getting it done. Because the minute I would say to myself, I don't want to talk about that topic, I'll think of something else. Oh, yeah, I'll think of something else. No, the next week would come. I would have no topic. I would have no content. The consistency wheels just fell off the bus. And that's how you lose your consistency. To get your consistency, like you're talking about, and create all this stuff with ease, you've got to have a plan. And those 2 exercises that I just walked you through, where you list out your content topics, and then you take that one topic and you create your regular piece of weekly content, Then you get everything else you need from that. That's something you can do week in, week out without a lot of exhaustion and creative energy being spent, and also maintaining that consistency, because being visible online takes showing up even when we don't feel like it. And that's just one of the tough parts about being a CEO. I don't always feel like going live. I don't always love the topic I'm talking about, but I know that if I'm going to build this business, I've got to maintain that visibility and I've got to maintain that consistency.
I'm going to try your exercises. I love them. For our listeners who are ready to take action, what's one simple thing that they can do today to start moving forward in their business and building that visibility?
Yeah, I would highly recommend they do the visualization, set the timer for 5 minutes, think about their client, and then brain dump those topics, because that's going to get them on the road to having a plan for content every week and consistency with it. Yeah, that's what I would go with first. If I were starting over and there was just one simple thing I could do, it would be to brain dump those topics.
It sounds like my morning pages. That's what I do in the mornings. I just dump all my brain ideas and it just freeing me
Yeah.
so I can actually create what I need. So it's been such a pleasure having you on the show today. Your
Thank you.
insights are incredibly valuable, especially for those of us who feel a bit unsure about putting ourselves out there. For
Mhm.
anyone who wants to learn more, to connect with you, where can they find you online?
The best place to find me online is to come to Facebook and look up my Facebook group. Be a confident entrepreneur, get visible, grow your email list and your income. Jump into the group. I have loads of free resources that everybody can access. We have about 3,000 members right now. And the neatest thing about it is a true community of support and collaboration. We have experts on every topic because, yeah, I'm a business and sales coach and I teach people visibility and list growth strategies, but I don't know everything. Like, there's questions about tech or what's best to do on a website, or, somebody might get stuck in Canva and need help with that. And there are members in that group that are professionals on those topics and they will jump in and help. And so it's just a beautiful community. So be a confident entrepreneur, get visible, grow your email list and your income. Come join us. You're going to love it.
For all the listeners, don't forget to visit tracybeavers.com and explore her program online. I'm going to put in the show note whatever we talked about so they can find you easily. Thank you so much, Tracy,
Thank
for
you.
being here today. It was an honor to have you, and thank you for the listeners. And we'll catch you next time on the Baggage Began. Thank you.